Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're very happy to have you here for this third day of VivaTech 2021. You're, of course, at Sanofi's booth, and we will talk now about Future4care, a new ecosystem to accelerate progress in digital health. And to talk about that very interesting subject, please welcome the president of Future4care, Philippe Peyre, the CEO of Future4care, Agnès de Leersnyder, the co-founder and CEO of Aqemia, Maximilien Levesque, the Chief Business Officer and Deputy CEO of Remedee Lives, Gilles Litman. Thank you very much for being here. Probably most of the people don't know what Future4care is, so let me give just a very brief introduction to it. 4 companies, Sanofi, Capgemini, Generali, and Orange, announced in January 2020 that they were planning to launch a joint venture in France with the ambition to actually accelerate the development of concrete solutions in e-health. And it happened in real. On June the 10th, the project became real with the announcement of the creation of the company Future4care. This is a European accelerator for digital health startups. Philippe Peyre, as I said, you are the president of this new company. What is the ambition of Future4care?
Yes, maybe I could start by explaining to you why we have chosen the name Future4care. We have chosen this name because our ambition is really to make a major contribution for the future of healthcare, leveraging as much as possible digital technology. So what is, in a nutshell, Future4care is an ecosystem, a large ecosystem that we are going to build with the objective to accelerate the development of startups in e-health. And what I suggest is maybe we start by looking at a short video that will explain to you more in detail what is Future4care.
Let's watch the video.
Future4care. It's an incubator, a platform, and a label, open to all startups to accelerate progress in digital health. With Future4care, you will imagine, test, make reliable, and launch your solutions, thanks to our new technologies, data, labs, and network of business partners and health experts. Do you have an ambitious project for tomorrow's health and want to accelerate its launch? Visit our calls for projects or apply at future4care.com. Future4care. Together, let's accelerate progress in digital health.
What is the ambition? Actually, the ambition, you talked about that, but what actually motivated the founders to create Future4care?
Oh, it's a good question. And in fact, we discovered some 6 months ago, in fact, that we share the same convictions. The first conviction that we have is that digital will disrupt completely healthcare, the companies working in healthcare, but also the professional, the way they work, the way they cooperate, and that it's a unique opportunity to bring solutions for patients. The second conviction is that we are convinced that we have in France and in Europe all the technological, medical, all the skills necessary, and the companies and the entrepreneurs really to take leadership in this area. And we believe we can compete.
Just put the fingers. Yes, thank you.
And we believe we can compete with hubs like Boston and Cambridge that we know very well. So, second conviction, we have all the assets to succeed in this area. And third conviction, we strongly believe that open innovation will play a key role, like we have experienced, for example, with biotech for pharma. And we believe also that the potential of startups is in Europe and in France especially, is still underexploited. Underexploited, that means that we can have more startups in this area, and they can be also more successful.
What is specific to Future4care compared to other accelerators?
I think that Future4care, on the top of the fact that we are focused on e-health, which is already a specificity, has two important assets. The first asset is that the founders and the partners that are going to join us have accepted to share their expertise, their data, with a startup that will be selected. So that means Orange, Capgemini, Generali, and Sanofi, and the partners with whom we are discussing will share all their expertise and data with the startup. And the second, I think, specificity is that we are going together and with the partner to build a large ecosystem so that the startup can have access to all the partners they need. Hospitals, if needed, patient association, financing for investment fund, and so on. So those are really the two key specificities of Future4care.
Very interesting, and I will go now, move to actually to Agnès de Leersnyder. What type of startups is Future4care aimed at, and what type of support will you actually give them?
Yes, hello. Hi, everyone. The idea is really to support startups in e-health and rather mature startups because we want to support them at these precise moments when they go to market. And at this point of time, they have to face 1,000 of issues, 1,000 of questions. They have to validate their product, their price. They have to find a distribution network. They have to validate the business model, to go through regulatory steps, clinical trials sometimes. And then they have to deal with 1,000 of experts, or they need hundreds of experts, and which is very time-consuming for them to find if they are alone. So what we propose to be is a one-stop shop where they can have access to a network of experts that we would have selected. And so these experts will come from the industry, the scientific world, the academic world, but also from medical establishments and, of course, patient associations.
And how will startups will be able actually to join Future4care?
So there are three ways to join us. The first one is to be opted by one of us, by the founders, by the partners, or even by alumni startups. The second one is just to apply with an open application. And the third one, very important, is to participate to one of our challenges. We will, the rhythm of our year will be with challenges that we will do first with the founders, then with the partners, and where we will ask kind of specific question with dedicated use case of the partners, of the founders. And the first one will be in September, and it will be dedicated to two main thematics. The one being remote patient management, and the second one is digital enhancing personalized care.
Great, and because we have the chance to have two startups around you, we would like to know what type of startups you are and what type of needs you could have, and probably, hopefully, Future4care could answer that. So we'll start with you, Maximilien. As I said, you're the co-founder and CEO of Aqemia. And I would like to ask you, the first question is, can you give us an overview of what do you do exactly in your company?
Yes, with pleasure. So Aqemia, so first we're doing pharmaceutical research. We're looking for therapeutic molecules. We are a digital platform to invent, design, find those therapeutic molecules that we hope will become drugs in the future. And to do that, so we do that in collaboration with partners like pharmaceutical companies like Sanofi or with biotechs. And to do that, we leverage a unique combination of artificial intelligence and quantum physics that comes from 10 years of research at Oxford, Cambridge, and École Normale Supérieure. And from a more operational point of view, we're a team of 20 people based in Paris. We are a mixture, combination of veterans of the pharmaceutical industry and
young veterans
young veterans of Google, Nvidia, and École Normale Supérieure, École Polytechnique, etc.
What type of needs do you have as a startup such like yours?
I'd say, 3 items. The first one is very pragmatic, physical offices, a place to have secured discussion on complicated topics and with the team it's an important moment with the pandemic to say we have to find one place to meet. The second thing is connection to the ecosystem. It's very important for a startup like us to be able to discuss with other startups, with, for instance, the founders, the pharmaceutical industry, the founders of Future4care, or even you were talking, Philippe, about VCs, or I don't know. A place where you can discuss and connect with the ecosystem. And I'd say the third item would be this place. I liked the word you were saying, the one-stop shop. It's the place where you can span all your questions, all the questions that every startup asks itself. How can I find this? How can I find that? Which is the good expert in your field, for instance, in drug discovery? How can I find it and have help from the team to find these specific people?
And yes, how can you respond to those type of needs?
Yes, I did not mention just before, but we will have a place, a building, which, by the way, is really great. And it's in the south of Paris. It's pretty big because we aim to really gather a lot of people, a lot of startups, a lot of people from the ecosystem. And we are totally renovating it and conceiving it for being both a place where you can work together, but with dedicated rooms where you can either have your room where you keep your stuff and secrets, and also meeting rooms, because we do know it is important. And for this one-stop shop, I think, yes, it really is the key of our offer. And there will be a team. Future4care, I will have a team of people that will be with you, but will not be the ones that will answer all your questions, just because it's impossible. But they will introduce you to the right person, either in partners. One of the problems of the startups, what they told us, is that if they want to knock at a big group, and then they have 10 person to talk to, and then 10 other person, and 3 months later they didn't find the right person. So what we really want to do is to directly really to the right person.
Well, that's good news. We will see if a deal is made at the end of the session. Huh? I'm just blinking now just to see. I hope so. We want signatures at the end of the session. We have another startup. Thank you for being with us. Gilles Litman. Gilles, let me just remind everyone, you're Chief Business Officer and Deputy CEO of Remedee Labs. Gilles, can you tell us about Remedee Labs? What are you doing exactly?
Sure, thank you very much. So first of all, we are in the field of chronic pain. And I'm pretty sure that all the people here with me today relate very much to chronic pain and have someone around them who suffer from some kind of chronic pain. So our objective is fairly simple to explain, but much more difficult to achieve.
Just bring a little bit the microphone here. Thank you.
It's to transform lives of people with chronic pain and to improve their quality of life on a sustainable basis. Just a few figures, 1.5 billion people in the world suffer from chronic pain, and we know that half of them are not relieved by current treatments. We also know that many of them are active people and that they often miss works, which is why you have such high costs of around 800 billion, mostly made of productivity losses. So that's a huge public health issue. My colleagues who are here, and I want to give a tribute to Michael and David, are the ones who have invented this amazing technology, which I'm wearing on my wrist, which is the first individual stimulator of endorphins. So endorphins are our natural painkillers, and my colleagues have developed a technology called millimeter waves, whereby we stimulate the nerves of the wrist with this technology, sending a signal to the brain, which is then releasing endorphins, with very known effects on quality of sleep, stress, and pain. But our ambition goes beyond, because we don't believe that the technology will do everything. We want to really build an experience, an integrated experience around the patient, made of our technology, of a care team that support patients remotely, of a digital platform and digital services, and of course leveraging the power of data to provide personalized services to people with chronic pain. We have decided to start with a pathological fibromyalgia, which is a pathology that mostly affects women, 80% women, and the symptoms are very, very correlated to what I described. Chronic pain, multiple chronic pain, fatigue and sleep disorders, anxiety and depression. And unfortunately, there is little to no treatment for these people today. We talk about 14 million in Europe, 10 in the US, so it's not a small population. 5 years to get diagnosed. And we know that they generate high cost for the system and spend money on their own to try to find solutions. So we've tested our solution with them, and we have had amazing results so far. So here you can see that we've reduced in 3 months pain by 4 points out of 10 to these people. And there is a measurement of this disease which is called the FIQ, which we have reduced by 50%, while you need to decrease it by 14 to be statistically significant. So very promising results. And more importantly, we have observed a great adherence. Here you see every line is a patient, and people who have started to use our device continue months after they started. So that's a very clear signal of the efficacy. Very importantly, we have many other applications, and we have engaged clinical trials in migraine, in arthritis pain. We are thinking about doing it in endometriosis. Breast cancer pain, and cancer in general has lots of pain issues, and post-surgical pain. So the range of application is huge, and I'm very delighted to have joined this company, which is very promising for the management of chronic pain in the world.
Well, thank you very much for this great presentation. I'm always amazed by all what you do within your startups. It's just amazing. Congratulations to both of you. I have a question for you, Philippe Peyre. So how can you actually participate in the development of Remedee Labs, and how do you differ from other incubators, traditional incubators?
I don't know yet precisely what are the needs of Gilles, but I think we can offer several things. First, as explained by Agnès, the logistic. It seems stupid, but it can be a burden for a startup, you see, to take care of cleaning or basic topics like that. We can offer also access to data. And maybe we have not explained sufficiently, but the commitment of the founders and the partners is really to make their data available to the startup. So we are building, you see, a catalog of data that will be accessible for the startup, either to test and to test their concept, to develop their concept, or even in some cases to understand better the market for their business model. So with a wide range of data that will be made available for the startup. That's a very important topic. Third, I think it's important also for the access to experts. I have supported some startup, you see, in the past, and to find a good regulatory expert for the FDA, you can lose 1 year, 2 years in your development program because you have not the right expert. And so you see, to find the right expert very quickly, it's really key in terms of speed of development of a startup. And we believe, you see, with first the founders, but also the partners that are going to join us, we are going to provide this expertise in the best way for the success of the startup and for the success of Remedee.
So can I ask both of you, are you interested? I love that.
No, but for sure, everything that has been said is very interesting and exactly aligned with the challenges of a startup like Aqemia. But then I heard that the starting is in September and we have to discuss a lot of things before that. But for sure, the challenges that we have are the challenges that you seem to want to address. So we may be interested, yes.
I like the maybe. What about you, Gilles?
Well, I mean, I subscribe to everything that has been said. I mean, we have just 4 priorities in the next 2 years, and I think Future4care can help us on all 4. We need customers and commercial partners. We are a company. I think Generali and Sanofi could potentially be customers or commercial partners in the field of pain. We need to develop a digital platform and a data infrastructure. I think Orange and Capgemini can really help us on this journey, as well as the access to the data sets that Philippe was mentioning. We need to go clinical regulatory pathway. We can have access to lots of experts and to the ecosystem that Future4care is building with hospitals, patient association. And we need investors because we are raising funds. And belonging to Future4care could really help us accelerate and be credible. And last, I totally agree with Philippe and Agnès. We have everything to succeed in Europe, and we would be delighted to bring Europe at the forefront of the digital health transformation.
And I think definitely COVID-19 made us understand that we have to boost European market in general. Great. You had something to add?
Yeah, I'd like to add something that is, in my shoes, it is very important. The people are very important, and the few discussions that we've had, we were amazed at Aqemia how, I mean, the wish to find the good fit, to find, and the way we discuss is just amazing. I mean, it's not at all what we can imagine from a big corporate with a small startup, an ambitious startup. It's not at all like that. I think it's obvious when we look at each other, and so just to add that.
Great. Well, what about you? Are you seduced, I would say, by those startups? Because it's a match that goes both ways. What about you, Agnès?
No, sure, I cannot do anything else but share your point of view. You know how happy I was to meet you.
Philippe?
No, so I have nothing to add. You see, of course, we are going to speed up the discussion with those 2 potential startups. And we are open to discuss with all the startups. You see, you have understood that we can offer is really a wide variety of services, you see, that are needed for the startup in e-health, and all that as a very competitive cost for the startup, which is also an important aspect.
Great. Well, thank you very much. I think we can give them a great applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any questions? We don't have paper to sign, but I think the words, yes, Michael.
Hello, good morning. Michael Atlan from Sanofi Pasteur.
Just bring a little bit.
Sorry, Michael Atlan from Sanofi Pasteur and Lab 14 based in Lyon. Just willing to know, you were talking about effectively geographical proximity with startup. We know it's very important. And we are in an European ecosystem. How do you plan to expand finally the reach of Future4care up to other European countries, or looking outside, or looking inside in France, through other regions?
So good question, and we have already I was going to say request, suggestion of potential partners about extending, you see, elsewhere in Europe or in France. What I must say is that first, maybe we have not mentioned that sufficiently, but Future4care will be based also on a digital platform. That means that all the services of Future4care will be accessible from everywhere in the world, and especially in France and in Europe. And most of the services, of course, the physical places will be in Paris, you see, but apart from that, everything will be accessible from everywhere. So that means we can integrate startups from everywhere as soon as the platform will be open, which is September, October, you see, and full speed by the end of the year. So yes, our ambition is to accept startups from everywhere in France, of course, but also in Europe.
Thank you.
Other questions? Well, I do have a question. You said earlier about investing, you were looking for investors, Gilles. Will you be investing in some of the startups? I don't know who would like to answer.
We have done with Agnès and the team an in-depth study of the startup. And financing doesn't to be...
Yes. This is the antenna.
Is it working now?
Yes, it's working
okay.
perfectly.
So financing is not the big challenge. And we know already, you see, that there are a lot of solutions in terms of financing. There are a lot of funds. We have, the founders, they have all their own fund. Sometimes we invest directly in the startup. There are new funds that are going to be created in the next month. So the issue so far is not financing. But of course, you need to be put in contact with the right venture partner, it has been mentioned, and to succeed to be able to attract the financing. So we are going to focus on that. Open the doors with VCs and all the potential financiers, and help the startup to build their case with the financiers.
We talked about 4 partners, 4 companies. Will other partners joining? Maybe Agnès?
Yes, sure. And we are in discussion with a lot of them. All I can say is that they are very enthusiastic, as we are, and we will probably announce soon some of them joining us.
Very well. Other questions, maybe? Well, thank you very much. That looks really exciting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All the best to you, to both the companies and Future4care. Thank you very much.